Hey guys,
What's up?
we're excited. Hey, thanks for joining us for another Arcades Anonymous, another AA meeting. And tonight we're actually joined by some amazing guys. I'm really excited. And unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties with Jesse from Jester Tester. He's going to try to get on, and I know a couple of the guys are going to try to get on maybe a little bit later. But for now, I want to welcome everybody. Obviously, you guys know, if you were on last week, you know the bad guy, Mike Worley. We got two new guys here that are awesome. We got Jason from Patriot Prime Reviews, and we got Phil from PD7. So
hey guys.
I do want to do this. I want to ask you guys a couple questions. We were having a really good time before we started, and we went live, and we were kind of cheating a little bit. We were talking about stuff we probably should have been talking about now, but we just got so excited about being nerds and developing this community. And that's what I'm absolutely loving about everybody who's joining in on the Arcades Anonymous. Anybody who goes to other channels, I know there's some great channels out there putting out some great content. And actually, let me hold off. I do this every time because I get super excited. But I want to hear from Patriot Primes. Jason, tell us about your channel. Tell us about kind of what you're like when you first began and kind of your journey to arcades.
Well, my channel, if you haven't guessed. Well, let's blow you up so they can look at you.
Yeah.
And my channel, if you haven't guessed, it's about Transformers, action figures, things we grew up in the 80s, all this nostalgia. I threw out some things right here. I got one of the original Visitor action figures from the 80s. And we got RoboCop, some little arcades. I got my T-800 skull, which will come into play later on. But my main thing is Transformers. I absolutely love Transformers. I grew up in the G1 era. First started collecting Transformers in 1984. My very first experience with the Transformers wasn't the cartoon or a toy. It was the Marvel comic series. So really? I grew up in the boonies of West Virginia where I didn't get cable. I had an antenna on top of my house. So the only way I could change channels is if I had the little dial that turned the antenna. And Transformers and cable TV, that was only when I visited my grandparents here in the house I'm living at now. So I grew up, all my stories were comic book based. So let's fast forward a few years up until I think it was 2017 when I started. My channel is I've always collected Transformers. I had a job as a security officer at a casino. So I worked all night shifts, and all of us guys, we were all ex-military and law enforcement. I'm an Army veteran, Operation Iraqi Freedom, hoo-ah. And we were all into playing PS4, Rainbow Six.
Okay, yeah.
We all played that. And one of the guys I played with was huge into online gaming. And he was like, let's do a Twitch stream and we'll play online. And I was like, man, I suck online. I'm the guy who dies first. I mean, that's my job.
You're the tank.
Online gaming. Yeah. And he says, well, why don't you do a YouTube channel and you can connect your YouTube to our Twitch stream? And I'm like, what am I going to talk about on YouTube? And he says, well, you like those Transformers, talk about them. So here we are 5 years later and almost 15,000 subscribers. I think I did a pretty good job with that. And my channel name, Patriot Prime, comes from the tattoo I have on my arm.
Are you for real?
Optimus Prime.
The American flag.
I'm just gonna.
That was my 40th birthday present to myself.
Well, that's glorious. That's crazy. I don't have any tattoos except my zipper tattoo for my scars, but that's okay. Oh man, that's awesome. Okay, so what was your first arcade that got you into Arcade 1-Up? Or arcade?
Well, what started me into the arcades was Christmas. My son, who's 8, wanted a Pac-Man arcade machine. So he told, or from Santa Claus. That's what Santa Claus was going to get him. I'll make sure he's downstairs. I don't want to spoil the whole Santa Claus thing. So we found one online, and we got for a good price. So we ordered the Pac-Man, and I got to thinking, I was like, well, he can't just have one arcade machine. Thank you, Nerd Lounge. Appreciate that. Seriously. So I found a Street Fighter 2 arcade machine on sale. So there's two of them. There's one from Santa Claus, one from us. So he was all excited when we got him. Then I found out that Arcade 1-Up, right behind you, made the Terminator 2 arcade machine. I dumped so many quarters in that in 1991. Totally. And I had to get one for myself. So
right after you saw the movie, did you go and play the game? Did you ever go to the theaters? Because they had them all outside.
Oh my God. That Terminator 2 was probably that one movie that I went to the theater and paid to see 6 times. I think it was 6 or 7 times. Wow. You can't see, I can't stretch my camera up, or maybe, but I have the entire Terminator collection up here too.
Oh my gosh.
So,
is that from NECA?
All the NECA figures.
Oh yeah. That's great.
And there was an arcade not too far from my first job. I worked at a grocery store for my first job. Yeah, everybody did. And I would always get off from school at 3:30. My shift started at 4. I would go to the arcade or stop by work, $10 worth of quarters, go to the arcade and just dumped them in Terminator 2.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Had to get that cab. And of course, as soon as I got it, let's start looking at mods.
Yeah. Yeah. You got addicted. You totally got addicted, man.
I mean, that's what I am. I mean, all of a sudden, I think I told you, and I thought Transformers were expensive. So now I'm doing these $500 arcade machines.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
So I did the cord mod. I got a new decal for the front and even came up with my own little tweaks for the mod. Made my first arcade mod video with the Terminator 2 machine. And then I don't know how it was, I found your channel, started watching you, and I was like, I like this guy's spiel. And I commented on your channel, and you commented back. Then I commented, and I subscribed to you, you subscribed to me, and it's weird how you just click over a couple comments on YouTube.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, we're inviting each other on each other's channels, and here we are.
Yeah. Let's not bring up that invite that I totally bailed on, by the way. I totally spaced on that.
Well, that's the biggest problem when you're on YouTube. We're all talking and hanging out together. Then you realize, wait, it's 9 o'clock for me here in West Virginia.
Yeah.
And it's what, 6 o'clock for you in California. So trying to get together with that time difference is always a pain in the butt with these live streams.
But we'll get it. We'll get it taken care of. We'll get it taken care of.
So does $10 beat Terminator 2? How far would you get on the $10?
Usually right to the big hunter killer tank at the end of level 1.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I was always shooting the people.
Brutal.
$10. Well, when they have the car, when you're on the truck, that's just nigh impossible. That's like, we don't want anybody to have fun anymore. Like, we're just going to get rid of it.
That is the hardest game.
It totally is. It totally is. All right, Phil. So tell us about you. Tell us about your channel. You know what? I didn't do this real quick. I want to highlight this. This is Phil's. Let me go to Patriot Prime. So this is Patriot Prime's channel, you guys, and I really can't recommend this enough. You have, I'm sorry, Jason, I'm going to gush a little bit. I appreciate your humility, how down to earth you are, and you basically cover everything. And then with Bert, the Stormtrooper, that you guys do your live thing, it's a great channel. It's just fun. Like,
we do these things.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, and now, Phil, this is yours. That your bannerless channel, which I'm not going to give you bad time for.
Here we go.
Yeah. So walk us through kind of what you're doing, and that would be awesome.
Well, I started buying arcade cabinets.
Yep.
And I said, if I'm going to have all of these, maybe I'll do some videos. So I started doing gameplay in the beginning. And then I started showing my face a little bit on the camera, talking, comparing some of the cabs. And now I'm doing walk-in talks on the weekend. Just like to get out there and just talk home arcades, talk retro stuff, point out action figures, collectibles. And, I'm having some fun doing this. I'm meeting some great people. It's been a real blast.
It's weird. Okay, so I'll say this real quick, and we'll go back to here. I've been able to connect with you a couple times. So we've spent like an hour and a half on the phone, and it's been a blessing to get to know you, and it's been a blessing to get to know Mike a little bit more. It's been a blessing. I've been like not calling, but we've been texting so much or emailing so much with Jester Tester, and it's just crazy to see this community. And that's kind of what I wanted to bring up: how important this community is becoming to me, and how encouraging it is, right? Because we all have that thing that we love, right? This thing that maybe our wives don't quite fully understand, or our significant others are kind of like.
My wife right now is downstairs painting our arcade room. After getting those machines, we decided the room needs repainted, needs a new light fixture. And tomorrow we got the AT Legends or At Games Legends pinball table showing up.
All right, show off.
Which was her idea.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. My wife can't stand arcades. I was like, Kelly, can you please come on the show with me? She's like, no, I can't stand arcades. I was like, okay, all right, sweet.
So that's 6 cabinets since December 22nd, right? Wow.
Dude, that's awesome. That is so
what
awesome.
happens.
Yay, tax return.
Get one and you just can't stop.
Yep. Yeah, it is. It's an addiction. It's an addiction.
Well, I can stop while they're not on sale right now because I started collecting them
Yes, you can.
Oh, yeah, and I forgot to mention too. There's more than that because I got Pac-Man, got Terminator 2, got Street Fighter 2. Happened to get a Facebook message from my brother who's always on Marketplace, and he says there's a guy in Lewisburg, not too far from where I live, selling 4 arcade one-up cabinets for $475.
All 4.
So I looked, or no, 975. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I looked. He had Centipede. These are the Gen 1 systems, or not systems, cabinets. He had the Centipede one, Rampage, Asteroids, and another Street Fighter. So I messaged him, says, "Hey, I'll give you 200 each for the Rampage and Centipede." So they're sitting downstairs too.
Nice.
So yeah, we got a nice setup since Christmas.
Wow. So 8. You got 8. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about this. I think people in our community would be interested. I'm not going to go into the conspiracy theories for Arcade 1-Up yet, but I do want to talk about the differences. And again, this channel, I want to encourage everybody. Everybody goes on here, whether you're
thanks, King Zarkan.
What's that? Oh yeah,
Zarkon just subscribed to all of us. Thank you.
Yeah, you did. It was great.
15K of October.
Don't show off. Don't stop showing. No, I'm kidding. I want to compare the cabinets before we get into the Arcade 1-Up kind of conspiracy theories. I want to compare the cabinets with Arcade 1-Up, At Games, and II Arcade. And again, I don't want to be negative towards anybody on the chats or any company. So we're definitely always going to be positive because these people are putting stuff out to us that is a huge blessing, right? And we all love these arcades. So what is it about? I want to know, like, because who here has an At Games? You guys have At Games?
I will tomorrow.
I do not.
No, I have the micro. I have the micro pinball.
Micro pinball. Okay, so I got the actual At Games mini right in my collection. And at first, when I got that, the controls were just, they were much better than the Arcade 1-Up controls. And the ability to download games I thought was just phenomenal. And I know that's very similar with II Arcade. I know Papa Brad on here. I know I think Menace is on here as well. Brooklyn Menace. I think you guys do the II Arcade show. And I would love to know kind of like what the difference is between II Arcade and At Games. It's just game selection. Right. The II Arcade has a better sound system, though. Correct? You have one, right, Phil?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the gold. I mean, it's premium controls, premium speakers. It's like a pro cabinet.
So compared to an Arcade 1-Up, an average Arcade 1-Up, is that something you're stoked you got?
I was stoked when I put it together. Like I didn't know what I would expect, and when I started assembling it, I had like this aha moment, and I'm like, this is a pro cabinet. You know, it's a 19-inch screen, the speakers, the controls. It's a great cabinet.
Yeah.
And the thing is you have 300 plus games, and not all those games are going to appeal to everybody, but it's going to keep you coming back and playing because some of these games are $3-6. You know.
Yeah, I don't have an II Arcade yet. And I honestly was never going to think about getting an II Arcade, not because of all the weird drama that's going on, right, in the arcade community that I absolutely despise, right? But the fact that you were playing some of these games, and I've seen Papa Brad play some of these games, and they're actually really looking like they're really fun games. So the II Arcade seems like it's more for a gamer. Does that make sense? Because there's no nostalgia attached to it. But
and that's what everybody told me. They said you're going to play this the most out of all your cabs. I mean, that's what you hear from everybody who has an II Arcade.
But that's not why I get arcades, though. I get arcades purely for nostalgia, primarily, and they're fun. Don't get me wrong. But Jason, what draws you to the arcades themselves? Is it more nostalgia, or is it actually the gameplay?
It's definitely the nostalgia. Because, like I said, big '80s kid right here. I grew up in arcade. Absolutely love going to arcades when we find them so I can take my son. And now that he's getting that age and wanting these, I just thought that's a perfect opportunity, especially with my wife being into it as well. We could now create in our home something I absolutely adored as a kid. And I can almost see when we have friends coming over that Dylan and his buddies are going to be in the other room playing Switch, and us and all the adults, we're going to be in the arcade.
That's right. I
know how that's going to work.
Okay, Jason, real quick.
Controls with the Arcade 1-Up. One of the first things I did after research is I bought, I think, what is it? Arcade 1-Up has 1 pound springs in the joysticks. So I upgrade them to the 3 pound or 4 pound, whatever they are. And yeah, a world of difference right there.
Okay, Jason, I got to say this real quick. If you need help with modding anything, you're going to actually want to see this guy right here, B from Kongs R Us. Welcome,
Excellent.
B. Thanks for joining us. Have you seen any of his shows, Jason?
I have not. Like I said, I've just recently got into all this, but I will now.
Yes. Okay. B, you are the king of modding. I definitely
debatable.
What? Okay. All right. Who mods cabinets better than you?
There's a guy named Bobby Vu, there's Vic VP, there's Joel. There's a lot of guys in the Arcade 1Up modding scene. I actually started mostly community of Arcade 1Up modders. Like 3 years ago, the modding scene was huge because cabinets, Gen 1 cabinets, were really cheap.
Yep.
So, and they didn't have so many options. And so the only way to get what you wanted was to make your own versions of cabs. So that's why I felt like I started in that group. But there's a lot of great people. But man, nice to meet everybody. Thanks for having me on. Jason, your collection behind you, man.
Seriously.
Thank you.
Seriously.
That's hot, dude.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff. So gotta look.
It's
more
funny. I used to hide that from people.
What?
I
Yeah,
do too. I have my man cave of like, I mostly do Transformers and other things too, but like you got a good.
Oh, then we're gonna be bestest of friends.
Oh,
yeah. Look at
You
that.
got to have him. Oh, Jason, you got to have him on your live show too, for sure. But have me first because he's not as cool as me. So, anyways, I'm just
Debatable.
yeah,
Debatable.
that's debatable. You know, it's funny, B, and I'll ask you, Mike and Phil, you guys too. But I just got that Street Fighter 2 big arcade, right? And it is beautiful, but it's like 400 pounds. And the difference now, it kind of sold me more on Arcade 1Up now that I got that cabinet, is to like it's so beefy, it's so huge, and I can't just plug and play. Right? That's what I do love about At Games, iArcade, and Arcade 1Up, is it's just plug and play, right? Except there's a little bit of prep for Arcade 1Up. You have to build them, but I don't know. I mean, that's what I think is so beautiful. So if you had to rank them, what would you say is your favorite? iArcade, At Games, or Arcade 1Up? B, you can go first since you're first in line.
Oh, that's a loaded question, Dan. You know, for folks that have been involved in the community, I think it really depends. They actually have different audiences and what they're trying to achieve for each of those products. Because iArcade and At Games, they're single cabinets that are multi-cades, right? Yeah. And so if you have limited space, the multi-cade is always a great option to do. And they both have different game sets that you can play. And then Arcade 1Up really is trying to replicate home arcades through semi-authentic looking-ish cabinets. So if you have different goals, I think they complement each other well. You know, when you have the various versions that can kind of hit all those different things in any ideal arcade, I think you'd want some arcade, like a multi-cade that can do almost everything, just to be able to try it. But if you're really looking to do what, you know, several folks like in this home arcade space is building this, what you did in your office, you really can only get that through Arcade 1Up. And I do know of only one person that has bought in every single iArcade machine just because he likes the skins and the various versions. Really? But they all play the same things, right? So he built his arcade of iArcade stuff just because he really likes it. He's like the only person I know that did that. Don't know anybody that's done like an arcade of At Game stuff. I don't know if that would make much sense. But yeah, there's just preference for anything.
At Games has a couple skins, but they don't have a ton actually. But it's interesting to me because like for me, the iArcade, I actually was not thinking about getting it, but when I saw Phil playing his, it just made me kind of go, there's some really fun games on there. And the At Games cabinet, mine doesn't hook up to the internet. I'm having issues with it, and it's very frustrating. So I know once I can do that, it'll be much nicer. But the Arcade 1Up right now community is a little frustrating at times. And I think we're getting clear of it. You know, I don't know if you with the issues. I think a lot of people are kind of staying in this area of negativity, but I think a lot of people are going like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to kind of focus on the positive of arcades. And Mike, have you seen any kind of change in the community that you think as far as people being more positive towards it? Or are you still seeing this kind of in the dirt and kind of being slinging mud?
It seemed like it was getting better for a little bit, and then recently it seemed like maybe it's taken a turn again, and I don't understand why. Like I said, I'm not snubbing the others. My arcade, I mean, it's full of 1-ups, so I was probably not the best person to ask your question, But the only reason for that is the nostalgia factor, because I'm just trying to recreate a dream arcade that I walked into when I was a kid. So I kind of target, arcade game specific cabinets, and I have a fairly large room, so there's always room for more. But I always figured when I got down to the end, that last cabinet's going to be the multi-cab, where I can just load hundreds of games, thousands of games into it, and that would probably be my last one. But as far as the negativity, I mean, it's getting better. It was getting pretty bad there for a while, but yeah, it is getting better, and hopefully by spring, summertime, everybody forgets about it and everybody can just play games.
Yeah, and Jason, that was new to you, right? You came in, you're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah,
right?
I kind of caught that, and I was like, well, what the hell? I'm just trying to hop on here and meet some new people, and they're all like, well, it was horrible. And I'm like, delete. So now I just follow home arcades, just so I can see how other people have their stuff set up. So nobody's bitching and complaining about everything. They're just showing off their arcade rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, B, when you first got into this, you primarily got into it because of your modding, right? And you modded the Star Wars cabinet. And when was that? Was that like 2018?
No, it was 2020. 2020 was right when I got into the modding scene. I got my first one up was in 2019, like Thanksgiving was my Street Fighter 2. I bought one cabinet, it was on sale for $175 from Amazon. I was like, sweet, I can buy this. It's small enough. I can just tuck it away in a corner. Did the best ETA Prime mod. If you guys are new to the modding scene, that's always like modding video number 1. ETA Primes, how to mod a Street Fighter 2 with the Raspberry Pi. I think that video has like over 1 million views now because everybody wanted to do exactly that, was how do you play more games on an arcade one up. It's outdated, but the principle is very much the same. The monitor and some of the specs have changed over the years, but that really got the whole community into like, oh, you can play these games on a Raspberry Pi. And then it got me, my next set of games was like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4-player and then a Star Wars cabinet. And then I was like, I'm going to mod all of these cabinets. So I just have 3. I can play all my racing games, my flying games on a yoke. So I modded out of necessity due to space, thinking I was only going to have 3 arcades for all time. Little that I know, like 3 years later, right? They just keep coming out with more cooler stuff that looks better.
And my wife and for me, we have room for 4 more.
That's it. Yeah. And so I was like, I have my toy room, and it used to be you can have whatever you want as long as it stays in that room. And I'm like, yeah, kind of. And then one day I just sold a couch in my little den that we never used, and was like,
more room.
Space
So
anyway.
Are all the cabs in that room?
In which room?
And right behind you, is that where all your one-ups are?
Yeah, so I'm literally sitting in like this little upstairs den. And right now I have this row of cabs behind me. I have like 2 pinball machines to my right and 3 cabs to my left. It's total of like 13 machines. And then I have like right on the like really scary staircase right up over there. There's a bunch of like some machines right there too.
And the other room too, right?
My shooter cabinet. Yeah, that's my baby.
But you got the pinball still in the other room, though, right?
No, I have my At Games Legends pinball machine, which I modded to a Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yes,
which is really fun.
That's awesome.
Do you have the control stick on yours?
Yes, this is the Legends control stick. You absolutely need this for your Legends pinball. So I did.
Just saw where that's going on sale for $100 next week.
Buy it. $100 is absolutely it should have been the retail price for it. It's not worth $200, but it's 100% necessary to navigate the UI.
And I might connect with you to figure out how to put the arcade games on there.
You could. There's also a best tutorial site for, I think, the Legends Pinball is Wagner's Tech Talk. If you're kind of new, he does both written guides and videos. Wagner's Tech Talk, highly recommend. He does all the good stuff for modding. People have asked me all the time, can you help me with the VPN? Can you help me with this? And I think a lot of times I fumble and bumble through a lot of stuff. And so it's hard to document and help other people because everybody's setup is slightly unique. The system that you use, the parts. So, but Wagner does a lot of good stuff with your stock things. I would definitely check him out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Jesse. I hopefully your internet's working now.
Yeah, it was a mess. I had to take this Elgato. I have an Elgato cam and just updated the drivers, and that just screwed everything up. So I had to go in and take all that out and reset everything. And I guess that's it.
Yeah, I hope I didn't stress you out.
Nah, it's all right. I've been going like crazy trying to get this done. What's up, B? How you doing?
What's up, Jesse? Good to meet
What's up,
you.
Mike? Everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesse.
I see Jesse's Michael Myers collection. I'd raise him my Jason Voorhees collection, but it's kind of out of range.
If I spin the camera around, I'll show you all the Jason Voorhees too.
Yeah, another thing about me, Dan.
Yeah,
my name's Jason. I was born on Friday the 13th, so I have a nice collection of Friday the 13th.
There you go.
Right. Well, I'm not going to go into the woods with you then.
Yeah, really. Like that's a red flag right there, Jason. Not gonna lie to you. My name's Dan, and I wasn't born on any special day, so hey, that works. You know.
And I have a brother named Michael, so it's cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this kind of like, I like that there's 6 of us on right now, because to me, this kind of like really kind of exemplifies.
Makes it look like we have friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
barely. But I like the fact that there is a community out there that wants to encourage each other and support each other. Like, it's not that big for YouTube channels, right? There's not like a ton for Arcade One Up. Yeah, there may be a couple thousand, but there's only a few that are putting out content all the time. Like, for me, like, I make it a point. My favorite YouTuber, I'm biased for all you guys. It is B, because I'm closer with him and I appreciate what he's doing. That is debatable. Allegedly debatable, but that's not to push B up at all. It's just because I know him a little bit more, and he's done some nice things for me, so he's kind of bought my friendship. But
I coached his son in his basketball team. I think that's the only reason why.
Yes, you did. I didn't even know you're into arcades. I thought I was OG, but you were, so whatever. But it's just the community that we're trying to build, this underground kind of positive arcade community, this crew that I just love, like Brooklyn Menace or Cornercade, like he was going to try to be on tonight, or Biggie D. Like, supporting these channels as best we can is just really, I think, an important aspect as we kind of move forward together, you know, and as we're all positive together. We're not kind of like a crew, you know, that moves forward. So I know
what you do is really cool. It's something that I started doing on my channel a couple of years ago, because there's thousands of YouTubers.
Yeah.
And there's like and I like to reach out to like the smaller guys and do these live streams to introduce them to new people, especially like in my Transformer community, because Transformer YouTubers are a dime a dozen. But I really try to pick out ones with similar personalities and then invite them on my show and kind of get them out there, kind of like what you're doing with your community here, which is awesome. And that gets that exposure out, meeting all these new people. And it's amazing how tight you can get with people you've never even met before. I mean, look at us. We've been talking for 30 minutes, and it's like we're all hanging out at Applebee's drinking a beer together. It's like we've known each other forever. And I just love how this YouTube thing works. I have been amazed by it. Like I told you guys in the green room before we started, I have met more friends via YouTube than I had probably in all my years of the service. Yeah. When I went to Transformer Convention last year, I didn't even go for the bots and things like that. It was just to meet all of the friends that I met via YouTube. And we had an absolute blast. Weekend went by way too fast. So it's really cool how you meet people like this, just support each other. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, it's
I'm
been
off my soapbox now. You're back to your stuff.
Well, no, I think it's just been really like phenomenal. Like, and it's so early for me. So obviously I'm a little biased, right? But I my first connection was with B for this whole thing. And then with Jesse and Mike, that was so much fun last week. And I feel like this whole week with Phil as well, we've kind of got to know each other, and Jesse, our emails, like, it's just been a huge blessing. And I want to encourage anybody who's watching this to kind of try to create community on this, because I think you could really be encouraged, because there's so much discouragement, right? There's so many things in life that is going to be getting us frustrated. And for us to complain about buttons or controls or, you know, lack of news from a specific company that we love, we can constantly complain and get down about all that stuff. Or we can encourage each other that we have a freaking arcade in our backyard. I mean, in our room, you know, like, that to me is where I want to focus on mine, you know. Cornercade. So I got to say this, Nerd Lounge Master 84 is going to be on next show. And same with Multicade Matt, but Cornercade says this. He said, should I group text? So we were texting constantly back and forth. It was kind of fun. So iron sharpens iron. Okay, so the last thing before, because I hate to say that I got to end this one a little bit earlier, but when are you guys going to think about selling? At what point would you guys sell your arcades? Right? When would you sell some of them to make room for others? Like, which ones would you sell?
Are we all? I mean, how much? Where are we at with?
Oh man,
if you brought one in, you'd have to get rid of them. I mean, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And I think we're all pretty close to that point.
Well, Jason just started. B is beyond that point. He's just shoving more games into his individual games. Like, I mean, it's crazy. He's going to have, I think, 40,000 games on his little handheld soon for something like that.
I sold recently my Big Buck Hunter, my beloved Buck Hunter mod that I had my wife do content on. It has fond memories, but if I want memories, I can go to YouTube for that.
Yeah.
But I replaced it with my point blank cabinet, so I let that cabinet go. And it's sad because like all of these cabinets, you have some nostalgia or attachment to it, so it's hard selling anything that's a collectible that you've had some attached. I mean, I know everybody here looks like you're a collector of some sort, so every single piece I bet like has some sort of like attachment to it for me. So it's hard for me to sell my stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mike, would it be hard for you to sell your NES?
Yeah, maybe in 15 years when it's time to put up some college money for the kid, that might be the time to sell
at
it.
the very top on the right, Mike. Like what? Like would it be sad if you let that one go? Like,
it depends. Some of them.
Dragon's Lair, then no, you're good.
Dragon's Lair, that would be the first one that would go probably.
It's a double, no problem, right? I got you.
Yeah, the Gold Legend of Zelda. Maybe I'll hang on to that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Sorry, Danny from Corner Kid says Long and Low will buy. Have you guys seen Long and Low's channel?
Mm-hmm.
Long and Low's channel. He has every single arcade one up I think that's been out there. He's got a great channel.
A lot of stuff.
So Jesse, when would you? I mean, because you're running out of room too.
In this room, yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I might take over a new one.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, because I said I have the thing from Australia might be coming, so.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So I might be expanding into more pinball area now.
Well, why don't you share with everybody what you're getting from Australia?
Can I do that? I don't know if I can do that. Can
I? No, it's up to you. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well, it's if anybody wants to look at it, it's Extreme Gaming Cabinets. They're out of Australia down there.
Yeah.
Go on there. Don't go on their website. Go on their YouTube channel and just take a look at some of their V pins.
Yeah, they got
really good job with them.
It looked really, really cool.
Yeah.
I apologize for those who are in the group chat who are chatting. I'm not able to comment on too much because there's a lot of guys in here, but I'm trying to highlight them a little bit. For me, when I'm thinking about selling, like because I'm getting to that point. I just moved an entire bookshelf down. So I have this really narrow hallway to the side of my office. It's kind of a weird configuration. And so I'm a book collector. I collect a ton of books and I read a ton. Obviously, being a pastor full time, that's what I do. And so I moved this whole shelf down to the right. And then I'm going to bring up this 300 to 400 pound Street Fighter 2 cabinet that I just got for free. Thank you, Ralphie. I don't know if you guys know Ralphie Duran. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's not fully functioning. So I'm going to have someone come out tomorrow morning and take a look at it. But free, right? And I'm going to maybe have my son kind of help me out with that. But what would I sell? My first cabinet was a Street Fighter 2. I wouldn't want to sell that, even though I'm getting a full Street Fighter 2. It's hard.
And you have two of them. You have two of the same cabinets, right?
Yeah, I modded one to be a Pandora's box because I was running out of room. I was running out of room, and I needed to get. Also wanted to get Street Fighter Alpha and Street Fighter Third Strike to practice that because I don't see B playing that too much. I want to try to beat him in at least one fighting game. So that's cool.
So if I had, you guys normally buy your arcade one-ups. I mean, I've done Home Shopping Network for one; it was on sale. I've done Amazon, of course, Best Buy, and then
Target,
at games. What's that?
Target, Kohl's usually have pretty good deals.
I actually saw they had them at Lowe's, and I could use my veteran discount.
On it.
There you go.
But Lowe's jacks the price up, so the veteran discount drops right down to the price at Amazon. So,
do any of you have our Prime, like Amazon credit cards or anything? You build up your points?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
but real quick, Jason, Biggie D has a lot of sometimes like on his community posts, he'll put sales or something like that are happening. So I would encourage you to follow Biggie because he's got some good content on that too. He's kind of like trying to be on the cutting edge as far as like what's on sale. But for us or for me, like locally, it was Sam's Club that had the best deals or Costco. So Sam's Club for like, I think I got my At Games Mini for $149.
Unfortunately for me, living in BFE, I have one Walmart and $16 Generals. So I don't really have many options.
$16 Generals. That's awesome. That is awesome. And Danny says from Corner K, 19K Fox does a good job with sales too.
There's also, I'll do a quick plug. There's another content creator named Console Kits that has a website called Console Kits Deals at Console Kits, and he'll track prices from different vendors. And you can actually track a single cab and like check the price history. So he's doing some custom coding stuff. It was kind of a good deal. Back in the days when Walmart was doing big clearances, that was a great place to check. Walmart used to have traditionally some really crazy blowout sales. Like 3 years ago, people were buying Star Wars cabinets for $50. And it was like
I remember
days
that.
where
That's crazy.
those were
here's
insane
one.
days. Yeah.
From is Nerdloft Gaming in the chat at all? Anybody see that?
I see Nerdloft.
He just texted me before, and he said that he got the Atari Legacy cabinet at Macy's for $65.
Oh, the Macy's. He actually got through with it. It went through.
Yeah.
He got somebody on the Facebook page who got Tron for 119.
He's got $65 at Macy's for the Atari Legacy and Tron for $100. So under $200, he's got 2 cabinets.
Yeah, but I heard that the Macy's folks like sent the price errors back and that they canceled all the orders. But if you got it, that's great.
Yeah, he said he did. Yeah.
All right, kudos to you, man. Congratulations.
So yeah, RC Wiley. So Console Kits, this is the website. It's a great website. He's a good guy. I know B, you're friends with him.
Be right back, gentlemen. You have to admire the collection without me for a second.
All right, no worries.
Write down his address so we can go see his house too. No, we don't dox other YouTubers on this channel.
Docs? Is that what you said? Docs?
Yeah. Yeah.
But no. So, anyways, I'm trying to think about, like as far as the future, with Arcade One Up, I know it's going through. There's not a lot of good news. There's a lot of like potentially bad news that everybody wants to kind of spread, and that's one thing that I'll end on right now. I wish I could make this longer. I do have to leave for a meeting that's going to be all night, unfortunately. Next week I'll go on a little bit longer, but for Arcade One Up, they have a lot of anytime anything happens, because I think, and this is why I think, because they've been so active in the community. Right. They've really been more involved than any other company that I know of. They've been in involving people and decisions and wanting to bounce things off of people. It's kind of working against them now. And I don't know, B, what you think about that, but it seems like whatever they do, they're walking on eggshells in the community, and they're going to be fine. But I mean, I had someone today say, are they going to go under this year? And I'm like, why would that even be a thought that they would go under? I don't think they're struggling financially right now. Right. I mean, I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, what do you guys think about like just the community vibe so far for this year and the product announcement so far? I guess you could talk about that. Like, do the product announcement so far make you excited for this year? Jester, are you getting any of their new products? Riserless cabs.
My wife loves Miss Pac-Man. We have the very first Miss Pac-Man, but I kind of like the form factor of the newer one that's going to be coming out.
The recess monitor. Yep.
Yeah. So it maybe one will move for that one.
Okay.
I would like to get the Mortal Kombat 2 one.
That one caught my eye too. The
Mortal Kombat 2. Definitely good. How about you, Phil? Are you excited about it?
I bought Star Wars today on Shop Hippo.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. FOMO got me.
It was worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah. That was for people that missed the first one. Still one of their best release cabinets. I did see some. 100%. I saw a post from somebody saying that the yoke was a little bit crooked though, and so that's something you might want to look out for. So that worries me about quality. But I think that's part of the reason why is that. As the company has grown, this is year 3 or 4 for the company now, right? Or maybe 5, I don't know, whatever it is. But, there's so many newish products that you can do that would excite the current fan base. You have to now make hard choices that we weren't in that exponential growth phase where we're like, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy that. This is like such a new thing. First time they did online play. First time they did a racing cabinet. There was just a lot of excitement for the new. And they just haven't been able to kind of like reignite that excitement for something that really captivates the community. Like 2 years ago was virtual pinball. That was the first time we'd seen that, and it really introduced a whole new different type of gaming to the home arcade space. It got more people into not only virtual pinball, but it got people into real pinball too. I was one of those that explored virtual pinball and then found my love for pinball growing enough to go out and buy a real one, right? So there's some hardcore enthusiasts or I guess what is it called, authentic folks that really like.
Did you ever play a real Were you a big aficionado in pinball when you were
I
younger?
wasn't growing up
No.
because I couldn't afford it. I wouldn't be able to
You were-
like,
You are, yeah.
yeah, like $1 for a game versus 4 quarters on X-Men or something. Like there was just not the practicalness. But
Mhm.
I've enjoyed playing that every single game is different and that every single one has a different challenge. So now I can appreciate it more. But I'm just saying, so for the State of Arcade went up, I think people are looking for the next new thing that's going to excite the community, and we just haven't seen that yet. I think Time Crisis might do that a little bit because we haven't seen a shooter cab with the pedal. There's going to be some concessions made, but it is somewhat new. So I think unique design cabinets are what's going to help move the company forward in some unique space. So I hope to see more, but not sure this is a year for brand new. It might be a year where let's just kind of steady re-release things and continue expanding our market. And sadly, for those that have been around for a while, this might not be a great year for the new product that you're looking for.
Yeah, but this could be a year where people are kind of upgrading their cabinets to make it more of that authentic feel too. But I mean, to me, like I never got into the pinball community or the pinball games. I'm still not, to be honest with you. I don't have any. When I go over to your house, I mean, I'm like, yeah, that's what I would love to play, but that's the only place I'm going to play them unless I go to Long Beach or I go to another area. I don't have access to them.
You don't play at the pinball place at 82? Come on, that room is legit.
Like, yeah, but that's far away. That room is so legit. They got 30 or 40 pinballs. I know. Yeah. But I mean, for me, like this is just CES. If you look at last year's CES, they released so many, right? So it's not the same as last year's CES. Last year's CES, I think they did Dragon's Lair. They did Marvel vs. No, they didn't do Marvel vs. Capcom.
No, it was the classic collection line, the legacy line cabinets that came out. They announced MK, Namco Legacy with the new design, and then KI Pro was the big announcement. And so it's 4 legacies in KI Pro. Dragon's Lair, I think we kind of knew about, but it was like a re-release later on. But around this time last year was the first time we saw NBA Jam XL. So last year was the first time we saw XL cabinets. That was kind of new and exciting when we saw that at the Shack thing. They also released huge, like last year was a huge year for like really big titles. MVC2, NFL Blitz. These are titles that nobody thought would even happen. And they came out with, some deflated balloons for some of the implementation of things. But, what's left for like a really big marquee title out there? I think there's a wish list. I think it'd be great to, use this stream at a future point in time to really draw out some community wish list things of things that would really excite you. I think a lot of people in the chat could always put in what they want, but yeah, I'd be curious to hear from everybody.
Yeah. I think everybody has like the games that they've put out. If you look at like the top 100 games of all time, they've done like the top 20, top 30. They've released them on multi. I mean, they've done a great job on releasing some of the best games ever. Now it kind of gets a little nuanced into what people actually remember when they were in the arcades. And that's going to be totally different, right? That's not absolute.
I'd love to have a Spy Hunter. So I'm sitting there just going back. What would hit?
Yeah. Robotron. Totally. Spy Hunter would be great. Robotron.
What was it? They could do a battle zone where you actually look through the binoculars. The sights.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, Hydro Thunder. My God, loved Hydro Thunder.
That would be crazy. Jurassic Park.
I don't think they're going to make as many cabinets as they did in years past because they're not going to have those liquidation sales. Yeah, I don't think we'll see those $199 sales going forward.
Well, I think we're actually going to see it pretty soon though, because I still see a ton of cabinets in my Best Buy. I mean, there's a ton there. So if they don't buy them, they're going to liquidate them, right? Because they're going to eat that cost.
Be more regional.
Yeah.
Guitar Hero would be awesome.
Guitar Hero, that would be sweet.
As big as that game was, Guitar Hero and Rock Band, during the PS3 and Xbox 360, with the upgrades in technology, and everybody still likes music. Why that hasn't made a comeback is beyond me. I used to get together with so many friends here at the house and play that, and now that I got a kid, they don't have it anymore.
B said Dance Dance Revolution last week.
That's right.
There you go.
I showed B a little hand Dance Revolution. I almost got that B. To go with your new wave toys. Hey guys, I apologize. I have to cut this. I wish you guys could continue to talk, and then we leave. But I got to cut this. I'm already going to be late, and I'm going to be in a lot of trouble with my job. So
do we got to say like my name is B and I'm an arcade anonymous?
I know.
Like, do we have to? You got to come
Hi,
up with
B.
I'm
Hi.
Jason. I just started drinking.
I would be, but I have a meeting tonight that I cannot be like that. So
We'll come up with a little chant
You
afterwards.
people in your California time. It's 10 o'clock here.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Okay, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for the community who's been
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Anytime,
thanks, Dan.
you guys are all welcome to come back on. So let me know. All right, you guys. Take care. God bless. And keep out running that neon sun, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Hey, guys.
All right.
Got to get your outro going.